If you can say, the reason I am here in this situation in my life right now is 100% my fault, then you take control back over whatever scenario that you're placing blame over. And then you can go take action on what it is that you need to do to move closer to your destination. Welcome to the Ryan Rice Show, where we talk about what we learned yesterday that we can apply today so that we can be better tomorrow. I hope you enjoy and subscribe. I had a situation this past week happen in my business, and I got frustrated. And when I stopped to think about why was I frustrated, and I put some effort into thinking about this, I came to one conclusion. It's my fault. And this is a very important frame for me. So I'm making this one as a constant reminder to myself that whether it's in my personal life or in my business, if there is an issue, thinking from the frame of it's my fault provides more utility than thinking from any other frame. But two, I want to share with you exactly what happened, what I did, how I came to that conclusion, because I think if we can teach more people just to think from the frame of it's my fault, then we gain control over the actions required to get us to the outcomes that we want. Who am I? My name is Ryan Rice. I'm a full-time real estate investor. I've been doing this for 4 years. Last year, I did about 40 deals, trending towards the same amount this year. And I make these in the event that they can help make you more money in your real estate business. So what happened this past week is there is someone on my team that I've communicated, hey, I am juggling a lot right now. My team is still small. I'm the head of all these different things. I have a few people on my team that are helping me with some stuff, but I'm juggling a lot of plates, right? That's just the season of the business that I'm in. And the analogy or the visual that I gave this particular person is, hey, if you can take these plates and, I'm sitting here, I'm trying to walk through the everyday of my business. If you can remove these plates or at a minimum, try to not put more plates on this stack, that would be incredibly helpful for me. And what happened is that team member took action or was asking me questions that what made me feel like they were putting more plates on this stack. And the stack was getting really heavy and I didn't want the plates to fall. And so I got frustrated. And instead of taking the frustration out on the team member, I stopped for a second and I really thought about why was I frustrated? And the conclusion that I came to, the fact that I was frustrated because there's more plates that the person was putting on my stack of plates. But the reason they were doing that is because they didn't know how to take, or they didn't know where to put that particular plate, or they didn't know how to get it to that plate to that particular destination. And them not knowing how is nobody's fault but my own. And that was such an important frame for me because there's a couple different ways that I could have handled that. And frankly, I think there's a couple different ways that I think a lot of business owners out there would handle a situation like that. Option one, I get frustrated. I go to the team member, why are you adding stuff to my plate? I can't take it. I need you to not remove. We talked about this before. Can you please not add more stuff to my plate? The problem is when I communicate like that, they have no directive as specifically what to do. And I don't have a clear understanding of why I've communicated to them to not put more plates on my stack or to help me remove them, but they are still doing. There's this gap of understanding. I don't understand why they're not doing what they wanted. I have communicated to them, but what is going on? And so I can continue down this road of frustration with a team member, or option two, I can do what I did and I stopped and I thought about what is the actual issue. And so there's a quick framework that I put to use. And if someone is not doing what it is that you want, it's typically for 5 reasons. First, they don't know what to do, right? Have you clearly communicated what it is that you want, whether that's in writing? Have you validated that they understand what it is that you want to do? And you can validate this just simply by asking, here's what I wanted you to do. Did you know that? And they can tell you, well, oh, no, I didn't know that. All right, cool. But if they did know that, then you can move to the second. And the second part of that is, okay, you know that I wanted you to do this thing. Do you know how? And that's where, for me, in this specific deep dive with the team member, this team member is helping me with a lot of particular different tasks. And the specific thing that she was putting on my plate, she didn't really know how to do that thing. And that was nobody's fault but my own. And so by me stopping and walking the team member through, okay, you knew that. Okay, did you know how? Then we examined that thing and we talked about how she could do it. And then I gave her a simple framework and she put that to action literally that same day, the next day. And it was so incredibly helpful and super simple, right? So this framework of, do you know that? Okay, you know that I wanted you to do it. Do you know how? The rest of that framework, which by the way, I didn't even put to use in that, but I'll share the framework with you, is if the person knows how to do something and you can validate that they knew how, like, hey, were you trained? Do you feel like you weren't trained? Is, did you know that I wanted you to do it by X time, right? So do you know when? And of course, you can solve that by saying, hey, you know that I wanted you to do it. You know how to do it. And we have confirmed that. By the way, I need this by Tuesday at 5 p.m. Okay, cool. So if someone knows that you want to do something, they know how to do it, and they know when to do it, then the reason at that point they may not be wanting to do it is because they're not motivated to do it. And then you can talk about, okay, why aren't they motivated? Is it how I'm communicating to them? Do I have a poor work culture? Is there something that I can control that needs to incentivize them to do the thing? And that's a whole nother podcast episode that we'll make in regards to motivation and how to run a good culture. In this case, that wasn't the roadblock for me. It was simply the training and the how. And then the last piece, if someone knows that you want them to do something, if someone knows how to do something, they know when you want them to do it, and they're motivated to do it, but they're still not doing it, then it's probably because something is blocking them. So I'll give a quick analogy. Let's say I take my car to a mechanic and it's got an issue, and we identify what the issue is, and I communicate to the mechanic, hey, I need this done by Monday at 5 p.m. because of X reason. And he says, yes, that's reasonable. And then he's very motivated to do it because I say, hey, I'm going to give you $1,000 if you fix this thing. So he's very motivated to go fix the issue with my car. But if he gets all to that point, he knows what I want him to do. He knows how to do it because he's been a mechanic. And let's say he's been a mechanic for 20 to 30 years. And he knows when I need it done. And he's motivated to do it because I have all this money to give him to do it. But he's like, well, I don't have a wrench. Then there's nothing he can do, right? He can go out and buy a wrench, but in that moment, he can't shit out a wrench. And so something is blocking him. And so that's the simple framework. If someone is not doing what you want them to do, that's the framework that you can walk them through to figure out where the gap is. And so for me, when I walked through with that team member, the gap was very early on. And we just talked about she didn't know the how. So I wanted to share that because there is so much power in just saying it's my fault. And if you can constantly remind yourself that it's my fault, then it's going to give you more control over the actions that you take towards your destination. And let's look at the alternatives, right? Let's say it's something even kind of traumatic or something in your life that some of the events in your past may have been outside of your control or may have, quote, not been your fault. The problem is when you think about it from that frame, it's, and then what? So X happened to me, then what? If you can say, the reason I am here in this situation in my life right now is 100% my fault, then you take control back over whatever scenario that you're placing blame over, and then you can go take action on what it is that you need to do to move closer to your destination. The problem I see so much out there is everyone has all of the reasons why they can't do the thing. And they're casting power to all of those reasons. And someone might have something that they want to do or a destination of where they want to get. And here's all the reasons why I can't get there. And it's because of XYZ, and it's because of my past, and it's because that this person was an asshole and I got fired and I shouldn't have got fired. None of that provides any utility, because the second it's everyone else's fault, that person has control over your future because they are controlling the actions that you are taking right now. And the actions you are taking right now is what's going to control where it is that you go. So by saying, this is my fault, and when you think from that frame, then you can control all of the actions you take, all of the power back from those things that you have previously casted power over you. And when it's your fault, guess what? When you ask yourself, then what? Well, if it's my fault, I guess I can do something about it. So I hope that was helpful for you. This was just as much a conversation with myself that I really needed this past week. And I thought it was a good one to share with you in the event that it might be helpful for something that you're going through. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace.